Captain Ryan Davis stared at the massive alien ships that had appeared on his screens without warning. The Terra Nova was humanity's newest exploration vessel, designed to make peaceful contact with other species. Ryan had dreamed of this moment his entire life, but now he felt only fear. "Captain, I count 12 ships," reported Lieutenant Matt Jackson from the weapons station. "They're big, much bigger than anything we have." Dr. Amy Stone looked up from her science station, excitement clear in her voice. "Captain, this is it. First contact with an alien species. We need to be very careful about how we approach this." Ryan nodded. Amy was the ship's expert on alien life, and she had spent years preparing for this moment. "What do you suggest, Doctor?" "We should try to communicate peacefully. Show them we're not a threat. Maybe lower our weapons and send a friendship message." The alien ships moved in a perfect formation, like a military parade. They were dark gray with sharp angles and looked built for war. Each ship was 3 times the size of the Terra Nova, and their weapons were clearly visible. "Incoming transmission," Matt announced. It's in English. Somehow they know our language." "Put it through," Ryan ordered. A deep, harsh voice filled the bridge. "Human vessel, you have entered the territory of the Zephyrian Empire. State your purpose or be destroyed." Ryan felt his heart racing. This wasn't going as planned. "Open a channel, Matt." "Channel open, sir." "This is Captain Ryan Davis of the Earthship Terra Nova. We come in peace, seeking friendship between our peoples. We mean no harm." There was a long pause before the alien voice replied. "Peace is earned through strength. You speak of friendship, but hide behind weapons. This shows deception." Amy quickly moved to Ryan's side. "Captain, let me try. There might be a cultural misunderstanding here." Ryan nodded and stepped aside. Amy took a deep breath before speaking. "Honorable Zephyrians, we apologize for any confusion. In human culture, we carry weapons for protection, but lower them to show peaceful intent. May we demonstrate this?" "You may proceed," the alien voice said, but it sounded suspicious. "Matt, power down our weapons," Ryan ordered. "Show them we're serious about peace." Matt hesitated. "Sir, that will leave us defenseless." "Do it." The weapons systems shut down, and their ship's defensive screens dimmed. Ryan hoped this would show the aliens that humans wanted peace, not war, but the alien response was not what they expected. "You prepare for surprise attack by weakening your defenses. This is the trick of cowards and thieves. You dishonor yourselves and insult us." "Wait, no," Amy said quickly. "You misunderstand. We're showing trust." "Silence," the alien voice roared. "Your deception ends now. I am War Commander Thekful of the Zephyrian Empire. You will surrender your ship or face destruction." Ryan felt everything falling apart. "Commander Thekval, please listen. We're explorers, not warriors. We only want to learn about your people and share knowledge. Knowledge is earned through battle. Honor is proven through strength. You show neither. Your species is weak and chaotic." More alien ships appeared on the sensors. Ryan counted 20 now, all moving into attack positions around the small human fleet. The Terra Nova was part of a group of 5 human ships, but they were tiny compared to the alien vessels. "Captain," Matt said quietly, "they're charging weapons." Amy tried one more time. "Please, War Commander. There are families on our ships, children, innocent people who only want to explore the stars." "Children should not be brought to war," Thekval replied. "But you have chosen to bring them. Their fate is your responsibility." The first energy blast struck the human cargo ship Peaceful Dawn. The ship's hull cracked open like an egg, and atmosphere poured out into space. Ryan watched in horror as the ship began to break apart. All ships, This is Captain Davis, Ryan. Broadcast on all frequencies. We're under attack. Protect the civilian vessels at all costs. The human ships were fast but fragile compared to the alien warships. Ryan pushed the Terra Nova between the aliens and the civilian transport New Hope, taking energy blasts on his ship's armor. Shields down to 40%, Matt reported. We can't take much more. Ryan made a desperate decision. All ships, Emergency Protocol 7. Ran the alien vessels if you have to. Save the civilians. Amy stared at him in shock. Ryan, that's suicide. It's the only way to give the transports time to escape. The human Captain Lucky Star followed Ryan's orders, driving his damaged ship directly into a Zephyrian cruiser. Both ships exploded in a ball of fire, but the sacrifice gave the civilian ships time to jump to safety. Barbaric, came Ekval's voice over the radio. You fight like wild animals, wasting lives without honor. We fight to protect innocent people, Ryan replied, dodging another energy blast. That's the most honorable thing there is. Honor comes from accepting defeat when you are beaten. You prolong suffering with your chaos. The battle continued for another hour. The humans used every trick they could think of, hiding behind asteroids, using debris as weapons, and coordinating attacks that the aliens didn't expect. But slowly, the human ships were being destroyed. Finally, only the Terra Nova remained. Ryan's ship was badly damaged, and half his crew was wounded. The alien ships surrounded him completely. Human Captain, Ekval said, your people fight. With no understanding of proper warfare. You show courage, but no wisdom. This makes you dangerous to civilized beings. We're not dangerous, Ryan said, breathing hard. We're just trying to survive. Survival without honor is meaningless. Your species thinks only of itself, not of the greater order of the galaxy. You are chaos given form. Amy stepped forward. Again, her voice shaking. War Commander, please. Judge us by our actions, not our desperation. We saved our children and innocent people. Isn't that honorable? You saved them through waste and destruction. A truly honorable species would have surrendered to save lives. Instead, you chose to fight a battle you could not win. Ryan felt anger rising in his chest. We chose to fight for something worth fighting for. Our families, our future, our freedom. Freedom without order is anarchy, Ekval replied. Your species will bring chaos to the galaxy if allowed to spread. This cannot be permitted. The alien ships began to withdraw, leaving the damaged Terra Nova floating alone in space. But Ryan knew this wasn't over. This was just the beginning. Why aren't they finishing us off? Matt asked. Ekval's voice came through one last time. You will return to your home world and tell your people what you have learned. The Zephyrian Empire has judged humanity and found it lacking. You are a barbaric species that threatens the peace of civilized worlds. We will return to deal with your kind permanently. As the alien ships disappeared into faster-than-light travel, Ryan looked around his damaged bridge. Dr. Amy Stone was treating wounded crew members, and Matt was trying to get their engines working again. Captain, Amy said softly, I don't think they understood us at all. Ryan nodded grimly. And I don't think we understood them either. But I know one thing for sure. What's that? They're going to come back. And next time, they won't just be judging us. They'll be trying to destroy us. The Terra Nova limped home through space, carrying news that would change humanity forever. First contact had failed, and war was coming. But Ryan didn't know that the aliens had also learned something important that day. They had learned that humans were unpredictable, chaotic, and willing to die for their beliefs. To the Zephyrians, these qualities made humanity the most dangerous species they had ever encountered. 6 months after Captain Ryan Davis brought news of the Zephyrian Empire back to Earth. The war everyone feared finally began. Admiral Kate Wilson stood on the bridge of the battleship Defender, watching alien ships appear at the edge of human space like dark storm clouds. "Admiral, we count over 100 Zephyrian vessels," reported Commander Pete Garcia from the sensor station. "They're moving toward New Haven Colony." Kate felt her stomach tighten. New Haven was home to 2 million people, most of them families who had moved there to start new lives. "Send word to all fleet commanders. We make our stand here." Dr. Amy Stone, now serving as the fleet's alien expert, looked up from her station. "Admiral, I'm still trying to open communication with them. Maybe we can find a peaceful solution." "Keep trying, Doctor," Kate said, though she didn't hold much hope. The Zephyrians had spent 6 months preparing for this attack. They weren't coming to talk. The alien fleet moved in perfect formation, just like Captain Davis had described. Every ship knew exactly where it was supposed to be, every movement planned and coordinated. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. "Incoming transmission," Garcia announced. "Put it through." The same harsh voice that Ryan Davis had heard filled the bridge. "I am War Commander Thekval of the Zephyrian Empire. Human defenders, you will surrender immediately or face destruction. Your species has been judged unfit for civilized space." Kate stepped forward. "This is Admiral Wilson of the Earth Defense Fleet. Commander, you're attacking innocent people. Families and children who have done nothing to harm you." "Innocence is irrelevant," Thekval replied. "Your species threatens the order of the galaxy. This threat must be removed before it spreads. We're not a threat to anyone. We just want to live in peace. Peace requires order. Your kind brings only chaos. We have seen how you fight without honor, how you waste lives for meaningless goals. Such behavior cannot be tolerated." Amy moved to Kate's side. "War Commander, please listen. Our species may seem chaotic to you, but we have our own sense of honor. Let us show you what we really are." "You will show us through battle," Thekval said. "If your species has honor, prove it by fighting with dignity instead of desperate." Tricks. The transmission ended, and the alien ships began their attack. Kate watched as energy beams reached across space toward the human fleet. Her ships were outnumbered 3-1, but they had spent 6 months preparing for this fight. "All ships, pattern Delta," Kate ordered. "Show them what we've learned." The human ships scattered in different directions, refusing to fight the kind of organized battle the Zephyrians expected. Instead, they used hit-and-run tactics, attacking from unexpected angles and retreating before the aliens could respond. On the planet below, Colonel Jake Martinez was preparing his ground forces for invasion. He knew the Zephyrians would try to land troops once they got past the fleet, and he was ready for them. "Major Clark, how are your special forces teams?" Jake asked over his radio. Major Lisa Clark was hiding in the forests outside New Haven's main city with 50 of her best soldiers. "Ready for anything, Colonel. If they land, we'll give them a warm welcome." Jake smiled grimly. Lisa was one of the best guerrilla fighters in the human military. She had studied every bit of information they had about Zephyrian tactics, and she had plans the aliens would never expect. In space, the battle was going better than Admiral Wilson had hoped. The human ships were smaller and faster than the Zephyrian vessels, and they were using that advantage well. "Direct hit on the alien cruiser Vorkanash," Garcia reported. "Their shields are down 20%. "Good," Kate said. "Continue evasive maneuvers. Don't let them pin us down." But the Zephyrians were learning too. War Commander Thekval adjusted his tactics, trying to trap the human ships between his larger vessels. The battle became a deadly dance, with both sides trying to outthink the other. "Admiral, 3 Zephyrian ships are breaking off toward the planet," Garcia warned. "They're trying to land troops," Kate realized. Garcia, send the lightning and thunder to intercept. The two human destroyers raced after the alien ships, but they were too late. The Zephyrians reached the planet's atmosphere and began deploying. Their ground forces docked on New Haven. Colonel Martinez watched alien dropships descend like falling stars. All units, this is Colonel Martinez. The invasion has begun. Remember your training and protect the civilians. The Zephyrian troops that landed were impressive warriors. They were tall, with gray skin and 4 arms, each one carrying advanced weapons. They moved in perfect formation, just like their ships, following ancient battle plans that had conquered dozens of worlds, but they had never fought humans before. Major Clark's team struck first, attacking a Zephyrian column as it moved through the forest. Her soldiers used the trees and rocks for cover, hitting the aliens with rifle fire and then disappearing before they could respond. What kind of warfare is this? Demanded Zephyrian Captain Veltar, the young son of War Commander Thekval. They hide like cowards instead of fighting with honor. His sergeant, a veteran warrior named Kexton, shook his head. These humans fight like animals, Captain. They have no understanding of proper combat. The human tactics confused and frustrated the Zephyrians. In their culture, battles were fought according to strict rules. Warriors faced each other openly. The stronger side won, and the weaker side accepted defeat with dignity. But humans refused to follow these rules. When Zephyrian forces surrounded a human position, the humans would tunnel underground and attack from behind. When the aliens tried to chase them, the humans would set traps and ambushes. When the Zephyrians expected surrender, the humans would fight even harder. Colonel, this is Major Clark, came Lisa's voice over the radio. We've been observing alien behavior. They seem confused by our tactics. They keep expecting us to fight like they do. Good, Jake replied. Keep them confused. The longer we can hold out, the more civilians we can evacuate. Back in space, Admiral Wilson was fighting her own desperate battle. The human fleet had lost 6 ships, but they had damaged several alien vessels in return. More importantly, they were buying time for the planet's defenders. Admiral, Dr. Stone is requesting permission to try something, Garcia reported. Kate looked over at Amy, who was working frantically at her station. What do you have in mind, Doctor? I've been analyzing their communications, Amy said. The Zephyrians have a very rigid command structure. Everything goes through War Commander Thekval. If I can disrupt his ship's communications, it might confuse their coordination. Do it. Amy began broadcasting a complex signal toward the Zephyrian flagship. It wasn't an attack exactly, but it interfered with their communication systems just enough to cause problems. Admiral, the alien formation is becoming disorganized, Garcia reported. Some of their ships are moving out of position. Kate seized the opportunity. All ships, concentrate fire on the command vessel. Let's see how they fight without their leader giving orders. The human fleet focused their attacks on Thekval's ship. The alien commander found himself under heavy fire while unable to coordinate his fleet's response. For the first time in the battle, the Zephyrians seemed uncertain. Humans, came Thekval's angry voice over the radio. You fight without honor. You use tricks and deception instead of strength and courage. We use whatever works, Kate replied. That's how you survive when you're outnumbered. Survival through dishonor is meaningless. You prove our judgment of your species is correct. You are barbarians who threaten civilized order. Maybe, Kate said, but we're barbarians who protect our people. The battle continued for hours, both in space and on the planet. Neither side could claim victory, but both sides were learning about their enemy. The Zephyrians saw human tactics as chaotic and dishonorable, while humans saw Zephyrian tactics as rigid and predictable. Finally, War Commander Thekval made a decision. All ships withdraw to safe distance. We will return with reinforcements. As the alien fleet pulled back, Admiral Wilson surveyed the damage. They had survived the first battle, but she knew it was just the beginning. Dr. Stone, were you able to learn anything about them? Kate asked. Amy nodded slowly. They're not evil, Admiral. They genuinely believe they're protecting the galaxy from chaos. In their minds, we're the dangerous ones. And what do they think makes us dangerous? Our unpredictability. Our willingness to break rules to protect what we care about. Our refusal to accept defeat gracefully. Kate looked out at the stars where the alien ships had disappeared. Then they're right about one thing. We are dangerous. Dangerous to anyone who tries to tell us how to live. On the planet below, Colonel Martinez was counting his casualties while Major Clark reported on Zephyrian behavior. The aliens had withdrawn. 2, but they would be back. Colonel, Lisa said over the radio, the aliens keep talking about honor and proper warfare. They seem genuinely confused by our tactics. Let them stay confused, Jake replied. Confusion is one of our best weapons. As night fell on New Haven, both sides prepared for the larger war they knew was coming. The Zephyrians had confirmed their belief that humans were chaotic barbarians who threatened galactic order. But they had also learned that barbarians could be surprisingly effective in battle. And neither side yet understood that their greatest lesson about each other was still to come. 3 weeks after the first battle, the war had spread to 6 different star systems. Captain Ryan Davis now commanded the defense of Kepler Station, a critical supply hub that both sides needed to control. The station was massive, with over 50,000 people living and working in its various sections. Captain, Zephyrian ships approaching from the outer system, reported Lieutenant Sam Parker from the sensor station. Looks like a full assault force. Ryan studied the tactical display. After the first encounters, both sides had learned to adapt their tactics. The Zephyrians were trying new approaches to deal with human unpredictability, while humans were learning to read alien battle patterns. How many ships, Sam? 24, sir, including what looks like a heavy cruiser. Ryan nodded. The station's defenses were strong, but they would need help to survive this attack. Send word to Admiral Wilson. Tell her we need reinforcements. Dr. Amy Stone, who had requested assignment to Kepler Station to continue her alien studies, looked up from her research. Captain, I'm detecting something unusual about their formation. The heavy cruiser is hanging back instead of leading the attack. What do you think that means? Maybe it's carrying someone important. Or maybe they're being more careful after losing ships in previous battles. The battle began with the familiar pattern of Zephyrian ships moving in perfect formation while human defenders scattered to avoid their firepower. But this time, something went wrong for the aliens. Captain, the heavy cruiser is breaking formation, Sam reported. It looks like they've lost engine power. Ryan watched as the massive alien ship drifted toward the station's lower docking levels. That's not a retreat. They're in trouble. Sir, should we target the damaged ship? Asked Weapons Officer Tony Kim. Ryan hesitated. The damaged ship was helpless, but it was also carrying enemy soldiers who would keep fighting if they reached the station. Negative. Focus on the ships that can still fight. But prepare boarding teams in case they try to dock. The battle raged around Kepler Station for 2 hours. Human fighters darted between the massive alien ships, while the station's weapons picked off targets of opportunity. Finally, the Zephyrian force withdrew, leaving only their damaged cruiser behind. Captain, the alien ship has crashed into Docking Bay 7, reported Chief Engineer Bob Martinez. There are definitely survivors aboard. Life signs? At least 30, maybe more, but the ship's power is failing. They won't last long without life support. Ryan made a decision that would change everything. Prepare a rescue team. We're going to help them. Amy stared at him in shock. Ryan, they're enemy soldiers. They'll try to kill us. Maybe, Ryan said, but right now they're just people in trouble. Sam, assemble a rescue team. Include medical personnel. Sir, with respect, this seems dangerous, Sam said. Everything we do in this war is dangerous, but we don't leave people to die if we can help them. The rescue team, led by Sergeant Tony Blake, made their way to the crashed alien ship. Blake was a veteran Marine who had fought Zephyrians in 3 previous battles, but he had never seen one up close before. Remember, Blake told his team over their suit radios, we're here to help, but stay ready for anything. Inside the crashed ship, they found a scene of destruction. The alien corridors were twisted and broken, with pieces of metal and alien technology scattered everywhere. Emergency lights flickered weakly, and the air was growing thin. Over here, called Medic Sarah. Kim, I found survivors. In what had been the ship's command center, they found 6 Zephyrian soldiers trapped under a collapsed beam. One of them was badly injured, while the others were trying to protect him. When they saw the humans approaching, the aliens raised their weapons. Wait, Blake said, holding up his hands. We're here to help. Your ship is dying. We want to get you out. The Zephyrians looked confused. One of them, a young officer with lieutenant's markings, spoke in halting English. You ... come to capture us? No, Blake replied. We come to save you. Why? We are enemies. Blake thought about it for a moment. Because that's what humans do. We help people who need help. The young Zephyrian officer was Veltar, son of War Commander Thekval. He had been assigned to this mission to gain combat experience, but nothing had prepared him for this situation. In Zephyrian culture, enemies didn't help each other. They fought until one side won and the other side surrendered or died. This is deception, said one of the older Zephyrian soldiers. They trick us to make us weak. But Veltar watched as the human medic, Serakim, began treating his wounded comrade without asking questions or demanding information. She worked carefully and skillfully, using human medical supplies to help an alien soldier who had been trying to kill her just hours before. Why do you heal our warrior? Veltar asked Sarah. Sarah looked up from her work. Because he's hurt. That's what doctors do. We help anyone who needs help. Even enemies? Wounded people aren't enemies. They're just people who need help. This idea was completely foreign to Veltar's understanding of warfare. In Zephyrian military academies, they learned that enemies were enemies until one side achieved total victory. There was no middle ground, no temporary peace for medical treatment. The rescue took 3 hours. Blake's team worked alongside the Zephyrian soldiers to free everyone from the wreckage. They shared their emergency air supplies and used human cutting tools to clear blocked passages. By the time they finished, 28 Zephyrian soldiers had been saved. We will remember this, Veltar told Blake as they reached the station's medical bay. But we do not understand it. What don't you understand? Blake asked. Your people fight fiercely in battle. Then you risk your lives to save us. This makes no sense. Blake shrugged. War doesn't change who we are. We're still human beings who care about others. The situation became more complicated when the station's main power failed during the rescue operation. A Zephyrian energy weapon had damaged the primary reactor, and the backup systems were struggling to keep life support running. Captain, we need to shut down non-essential systems, reported Bob Martinez, including the medical bay. Ryan looked at the wounded humans and aliens in the medical center. How long do we have? 6 hours, maybe 8 if we're lucky. Dr. Amy Stone was working with Veltar and the station's human engineers to reroute power from the damaged alien ship. Captain, I think we can use their ship's power core to boost our life support. But we'll need both human and Zephyrian technical knowledge to make it work. Do it. For the next 6 hours, humans and Zephyrians worked side by side to keep everyone alive. Veltar found himself translating between human engineers and Zephyrian technical manuals, while his soldiers helped carry equipment and hold tools. Your people are strange, Veltar told Amy as they worked to connect the alien power systems. You cooperate with enemies as if they were friends. Maybe that's because we don't see you as enemies right now, Amy replied. Right now you're just people helping us solve a problem. But tomorrow we will fight again. Maybe, but that's tomorrow. Today we work together. This concept puzzled Veltar even more. How could humans switch between fighting and cooperating so easily? In Zephyrian culture, relationships were fixed. Enemies were always enemies. Allies were always allies, and there was no changing between them. When the rescue ships finally arrived to evacuate the damaged station, Veltar made a request that surprised everyone. I wish to speak with your commander about prisoner exchange. You want to be exchanged for human prisoners? Ryan asked. No, Veltar said. I want to return to my father's fleet to tell them what I have seen here. Your people are not what we believed them to be. What did you believe? We believed you were chaotic barbarians who cared nothing for honor or proper behavior. But you risked your lives to save enemies. You worked with us to solve problems. This is unexpected. Ryan nodded. We're not barbarians, Veltar. We're just different from you. Yes, the young Zephyrian agreed. Very different, but perhaps not as dangerous as we thought. As Veltar's shuttle departed for the Zephyrian fleet, he carried with him a story that would challenge everything his people believed about humans. He had seen enemies risk their lives to save aliens who had been trying to kill them. He had watched humans and Zephyrians work together as if they were natural allies. Most importantly, he had learned that humans could be fierce warriors and compassionate rescuers at the same time. This contradicted everything Zephyrian military doctrine taught about the nature of combat and honor. Do you think he'll be able to convince his people? Amy asked Ryan as they watched the shuttle disappear. I don't know, Ryan admitted. But at least one Zephyrian now knows that we're not the monsters they thought we were. And what did we learn about them? Ryan thought about Veltar and his soldiers working alongside humans to repair the life support systems. We learned that they're not monsters either. They're just people who see the world differently than we do. The war was far from over, but something important had changed at Kepler Station. For a few hours, enemies had become allies in the face of a common problem. Both sides had seen that cooperation was possible, even in the middle of a war. Neither side knew that this lesson would soon become much more important than either of them could imagine. The Battle of Titan's Edge would be remembered as the bloodiest fight of the war. Commander Dan Miller led the human defense of the mining colony, while War Commander Thekval personally commanded the Zephyrian assault force. Both sides knew this. Battle would decide the fate of the entire sector. Sir, enemy forces are landing in Zones 3 and 7, reported Sergeant Jim Carter from the command bunker. They're coming in heavy. Dan studied the tactical map, showing Zephyrian dropships scattered across the planet's surface. How many troops? At least 5,000, maybe more. And sir, War Commander Thekval is with them. We intercepted his personal communications. Dan felt his stomach tighten. Thekval was the Zephyrian Empire's most famous military leader, a warrior who had never lost a battle. If he was here personally, it meant the aliens were serious about taking this world. All units, this is Commander Miller, Dan broadcast to his scattered forces. The enemy commander is on the ground with us. Let's show him what human determination looks like. Lieutenant Helen Davis, Captain Ryan Davis's sister, commanded the Eastern Defensive Line with 300 Marines. She had volunteered for this most dangerous position, knowing that Thekval would probably attack there first. "Lieutenant, Zephyrian forces approaching your position," came the radio call from command. "Large formation, heavy weapons." Helen looked through her binoculars at the advancing alien army. They moved in perfect formation, their four-armed bodies carrying weapons that looked more advanced than anything humans had. At the front of the formation, she could see a larger figure in ornate armor who could only be Thekval himself. "All Marines, hold your positions," Helen ordered. "Wait for my signal." The Zephyrians advanced slowly and deliberately, following their ancient battle traditions. They expected the humans to either flee or surrender when faced with superior numbers and firepower. But Helen's Marines had prepared for this moment. "Now," Helen shouted. The humans opened fire from hidden positions, using the planet's rocky terrain to their advantage. The first Zephyrian charge faltered as soldiers fell to human rifle fire and explosive traps, but Thekval was an experienced commander. He quickly adapted his tactics, using his superior firepower to blast the human positions. The battle became a deadly contest of wills, with both sides taking heavy casualties. "Lieutenant Davis, enemy forces have broken through Sector 4, came an urgent radio call. "They're flanking your position." Helen made a desperate decision. "All units fall back to secondary positions. Fighting retreat, covering fire." For the next 6 hours, the battle raged across Titan's Edge. Human forces used every trick they had learned, while Zephyrian troops followed Thekval's brilliant tactical plans. Neither side could gain a decisive advantage. Finally, as the planets' twin suns began to set, Thekval led a final assault on the human command bunker. He fought alongside his soldiers, his four arms wielding weapons with deadly skill. But human defenders fought just as fiercely, knowing that their families depended on them. The end came suddenly. A human rocket struck near Thekval's position, and falling debris trapped the war commander under heavy rocks. His soldiers tried to reach him, but human fire kept them back. "Commander Thekval is down," reported one of his officers over the radio. "Repeat, the commander is down." Dan Miller heard the transmission and felt a strange mix of relief and sadness. Thekval had been a deadly enemy, but he was also a respected warrior who fought for what he believed in. "All units, cease fire," Dan ordered. "Secure the area around." The enemy commander, Lieutenant Helen Davis, reached Thekval first. The great war commander was pinned under a massive piece of concrete, his ornate armor cracked and broken. He was still alive, but barely. "Human," Thekval said weakly when he saw Helen approaching. "You have won this battle." Helen knelt beside the dying alien warrior. "Sir, we're going to try to get you out of there." "No," Thekval said. "My time is finished. But tell me, why do your people fight so fiercely for this worthless rock?" Helen looked around at the devastated landscape of Titan's Edge. The mining colony wasn't much to look at, but it was home to 50,000 human families. "Because it's ours, sir. Because people we care about live here." "You fight for dirt and stones?" "We fight for the people who call this place home, for their right to live free and build something better for their children." Thekval was quiet for a long moment. "In all my battles, I have fought for honor and glory, for the strength of the empire. But you you fight for love." "Yes, sir. I guess we do. That is not what we expected from barbarians." Helen felt tears in her eyes as the great warrior died. Enemy or not, Thekval had been a brave soldier who died fighting for his beliefs. "Lieutenant," called Sergeant Carter, "what do we do with the body?" Helen stood up slowly. "We treat it with respect. Get me Commander Miller on the radio."